Welcome to the Purpose Driven Mom Show, episode 492, and Happy New Year! I am coming to you from the past, the ghost of Christmas past, if you will, because it is December. I'm batching ahead so I can take a little bit of a break, but it is the new year and it is the first Monday of the year. So I know where you're at. I know that you're ready to jump in with your goals to get it all done. And I'm going to talk to you today about how you can use micro momentum and trick yourself into getting started on your goals. I also came off, the holidays. I'm ready to jump in, but I'm also feeling a little sluggish, and hopefully these tips help. I want to encourage you though, we're not doing hustle culture this year. We're working on tiny, doable, sustainable steps. Listen, if you're new here, I'm so happy you're here. And if you've been around for a while, you know what I talk about, right? And it is about how when we put too much on our plates, we get too overwhelmed and then we quit. I want differently for you in 2026. I want you to use these tips to get started on some of your goals and then work on some of the other ones at a later date, okay? We're going to talk about micro momentums, how you can get started and take those goals that you put on that beautiful vision board. If you did 2026 planning with us, right? Those beautiful goals and get them started. Now, what is a micro momentum? It is the tiniest action that shifts you into movement from not doing to just starting, and it often happens in less than 60 seconds. I was a special education teacher for a decade, and I taught seniors who had learning disabilities. So they were probably anywhere between third and seventh grade reading levels. So when it came time for senior year, they do a thing in my state called a senior project. In the senior project, you do a research project, you do a personal narrative, you have to present a whole report. And while we had accommodations based on their IEPs for our students, they still had to do the project. One of the hardest parts for writing when it came to just them sitting down to do it was getting started. And I always had this phrase I use with them: it's the start that stops us. Once they got their ideas flowing, it was a lot easier. But it's like always, what do I do first? And so one of the things that I did was I had a list of sentence starters. Then they were kind of broken down into paragraphs, right? Like first, next, something finally, just some transition words. And I put them inside their writing notebooks and like a little screen protector so that they could look at them whenever they were feeling stuck and just get started. It's kind of one of the same reasons ChatGPT works really well. I don't let it think for me 100%. I let it get me started and then I'm like, oh, okay, this is what we'll do next, right? Sometimes we need a couple things to move us forward. And those are the tips I'm going to give today. Using micro momentums also, though, helps you push your brain past resistance. That resistance of, this is going to take so long. I'm not able to do this. I don't have the time. When you just get started on something, even if you're doing it imperfectly, even if you're not taking the time you wish you could spend on it, even if you're like, oh, I would love 2 hours to work on this and I only have 15 minutes, hence the 15-minute formula. If you didn't know that, go get the book. The book is actually almost on its 4-year anniversary, which I cannot even believe. One, that I wrote a book, and two, that it's been around for so long and it still sells copies every single week is phenomenal to me, considering we don't really advertise it. So if you bought it for a friend, if you have a friend right now, just go to Amazon. You can get hardcover, paperback. It's on Kindle Unlimited, absolutely free. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, but pro tip, authors only get paid if they have their stuff free on Kindle Unlimited if you read the book. So just a little encouragement, go read the book. You have to scan through the pages. And if you love the podcast style, I mean, come hang with me. I read the audiobook to you, which I will say, recording an audiobook is so different from podcasting. Like, you have to be a voice actor. It was one of the most challenging things I've ever done. But the point of this is the micro momentums aligns really well with the 15-minute philosophy because it just gets us started. It also gives you this immediate win of, hey, this project, this task, this habit, this routine felt huge. Now I'm seeing success. And your brain loves that relief of getting started. Once you get past that first hiccup, I'm sure you find that it's not as bad as you think with whatever goal or whatever thing you're working on. When you get started on something, you create this momentum, right? There's this concept called the compound effect. It was the very first personal growth book I ever read by Darren Hardy. Highly recommend. And he talks about the flywheel, which is like a machine. And the flywheel, kind of goes slow, slow, slow. But once you get it started, right? And you can see if you're on YouTube watching, I'm showing it with my hand, right? Once you get it started, then it spins, right? Then it goes super fast. Once you get that momentum going, your brain's like, this is safe. I can work on this and I can get this done. But starting is often the hardest part. Okay. We have so much mental load, decision fatigue, coming off the holidays. Your decorations might not be put away. There's still toys everywhere. Again, this is early December that I'm recording this, and I just wrapped my Christmas gifts because that's how I operate. I like to do things in advance to give myself time to realize I forgot some presents and go get them. And I spent 3 hours and I was like, I'm the problem. Like, why did I buy this stuff? I was already starting to think about the days after Christmas and getting it all cleaned up. And I was like, right. The decision fatigue and mental load we already have as moms is so much that sometimes starting feels like just another thing to add to our to-do list, right? And it can be hard. The other thing is because we have this lack of uninterrupted time as moms, it is really rare we get that time where we can work on things. When we do have it, our brain is often like, let's just cross the things off I know I have to get done. I know I got to fold the laundry. I know I got to load the dishes. I don't want to get started on something else right now. And then we also struggle with this piece of perfectionism that tells us that things need to look a certain way or we can't. Well, I can't get started on my morning reading. I do reading for about 10 minutes in the morning. If I wake up a little late, my brain will automatically be like, well, we can't do the reading. Well, I could have done 5 minutes. I could have done 2 minutes. But my perfectionist brain wants to say, well, if you can't do 10 minutes, it doesn't count. And that is what's keeping us stuck. Our brain's natural response is to conserve as much energy as possible to keep us safe. That is what our brain wants to do. And until we move forward on things and prove to our brain, hey brain, this is a safe activity, the synapses and like our reticular activating system is like the front of our brain is like, no, we can't do it. And then as soon as you do something and your brain's like, wait, this didn't take as long, this is safe, I'm okay, I'm okay to use energy on this thing, then we move forward. Like it's just how we're wired and we have to retrain it. But I want to remind you that the hesitation to get started or move forward, it isn't that you're lazy, right? It isn't that you'll never get it done. It isn't that you're not motivated, because here's the thing, can we talk about this for a second? Motivation is fickle. Not all of us are naturally motivated people or naturally wired to be motivated people. So we have to use these types of strategies to get us started. I always tell people, I am a very driven person. Like I would use that adjective to describe me, very driven. I'm not always motivated, and that's okay. It means I'm a human being. But when you use some of these micro momentum tips and tricks I'm going to talk about in a minute, you will convince your brain, like, let's move forward before any resistance kicks in, because the goal with micro momentum is that they're done in a minute or less. Your brain won't even have time to fight you. And for those of you who have like that rebel personality, if you've ever read The Four Tendencies by Gretchen Rubin, you know this rebel personality, you know what I'm talking about. If it feels like you're resisting something, your brain, again, trying to keep you safe, is like, you can't tell me what to do. So if you do it quick enough and you use these strategies, keep them in your toolbox, when it's time to get started on your new goals this year, when the motivation and the excitement wane, which it will, it's January 5th. You're excited today. I'm assuming. January 12th, you might not be as excited, right? So when you get to those things, take these things and put them in your toolbox, okay? I'm gonna give you 5 simple pro tip micro momentum strategies that you can use, okay? These are practical real life tools that you can start with today, all right? First is the 30-second start method. I do this one a lot where I have to pick up, okay? Nightly pickup. I need to get started on it. I need to go make lunches for tomorrow, right? I need to get started with work. I need to get dinner going. Ask yourself, what is the first 30-second start that I can have for this task? So for work, sometimes if I'm hemming and hawing because I have other things to do and I don't feel like getting started, this podcast, for example, I wanted to get started on it. I kept putting it off. I kept putting it off. So I opened my laptop, right? 30-second start. I looked at the podcast title I was going to do, right? Some quick things. And then I got excited and I was like, all right, let me just get started. A lot of time, again, say it's a start that stops us. Lay your kids' outfits out, right? For the next day. You're like, all right, I don't know what to do. This is going to be easy. Let me do this. Get started on taking the stuff out to make the lunches for the next day. What is a quick thing, 30 seconds or less, you can do to just get started on it? Now, it doesn't always work, but it does help. Your next one, and this one's for particularly like cleaning up or getting started on like house type of projects, is the just touch it rule. If you've been avoiding something, just touch it. Get that laundry basket, touch it. Planner, your inbox, your computer stuff, right? When you touch, it will increase your follow through because you've removed the barrier of getting started. So right now I have a load of laundry. It's sitting in my dryer since yesterday. I'm gonna do it. I will. Just touch it rule. I'm gonna go grab the laundry basket and just get it. Another thing that I will say, this is like tip 2B, I guess, is I typically tell myself if it's gonna take me a minute or less, just do it, right? So especially when I'm putting things away, decluttering. My daughter, and I love her because she's just like me. She's a little messy. I'm a little messy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very organized in what I do. I'm a bit messy. She's very much like me. Like there will be a trail of things around her. It was funny because last summer she was at summer camp and I realized I was like, oh, it's Ariana. Like she's the messy one. Like I'm doing so much picking up after one child. Like it helped me pinpoint this. So anyway, when it comes to stuff like that, if we have to put something away, if I see the nail clipper is out and it doesn't belong where it is, if I can do it in 30 seconds or less, just do it, right? Like just get started on it. Very similar to the just touch it rule. If I'm going to pick up the hoodie, I might as well go take it and hang it up, right? Or my kids as well. Now, our third one, we're going to call this the half started setup hack, okay? This is where you end to your tasks halfway through on purpose to make the re-entry a little bit easier. But I tend to only do things on the time when they end in 5 or zeros. So if I'm going to scroll my phone, for example, I'll be like, all right, it's 8:43. At 8:45, I'm going to stop doing this so I can do something else. And honestly, please let me know. I haven't been on Instagram in a couple months. So I was going to say DM me, but come find me in the Facebook group. That's where I'm going to probably spend more of my time in 2026. I think I'm just like done with social media, but I would actually really be interested in knowing, like, do you do this too? Because I'll be like, all right, it's time to get up and go make lunches. All right, at 9:05, if it's 9:02, like I can't get started. It's the same with the TV, right? TV can't be at like 13. It has to be at 15. I just have a thing with numbers. I don't know what that means. And I actually am, now that I'm saying it out loud, like, wait, is that not a thing that all of us do? But this half started hack helps me with that because it's similar. It's giving you a clean place to stop. So yesterday, again, wrapped gifts, 3 hours of gift wrapping. And I started with like organizing and wrapping, and I got done with almost everything. I think there was like one thing I couldn't finish, but I didn't wrap any of my daughter's birthday gifts. Her birthday's the 23rd of December, right before Christmas. So I put them all to the side, and I intentionally told myself, I'm going to stop when I get this last thing done so that the next piece I have to pick up is easy. It's just the birthday gifts. This gives me future me a gift, right? It's friction-free momentum. I don't have to remember where I started. I don't have to think about it. I can say, okay, I stopped after this load of laundry, or I folded the laundry, but the laundry still needs to get put away. Okay, step 1 is done. Like complete tiny baby steps inside of your action, and then be like, all right, at my next objective, I'm going to put the laundry away type of thing. Or at the next thing, I'm going to pick up this laundry. That allows our brain to be like, all right, I did something. And something is better than nothing when it comes to your goals. All right, number 4 is the countdown trick. If you've ever read the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins, this is where I heard this one first, and it does work. You say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you move your body towards the task. It breaks the overthinking cycle. And I talk about this all the time, but I do talk to myself like a lot. So I do this one often. I'll be like, all right, we need to go record this podcast. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cara, get up and go do it. Right. And I just tell myself that I need to count down. Our brain likes the countdown. Our brain likes having a start and stop time. And so if we can lean into the brain science of it all, you're not going to overthink when should I get started? It's let me just go do it. It's a nice transition and we don't overthink it. It's clear. What happens when you get to the end of your countdown? You do something, right? Rocket blasts off, etc. Then it's time to go. All right, our 5th and final micro momentum tip, and then I'll give you some scripts, is called the anchor action method. This is where you're going to attach your micro actions to existing routines. I also call it habit triggers, but sometimes I steer away from that because there's this other guy who wrote this. It's a very popular productivity book, and the name is escaping me right now. But he talks about habit triggers differently than I do, and sometimes people get confused, but I call them habit triggers, where you take the thing that you're already doing and you connect it to something that is existing for yourself. So if every time I go and brush my teeth, that's when I listen to my devotional, right? When I make my coffee in the morning, right, I'm going to go over my notes for the day. It's connecting something new with something that's already happening and it anchors them in so it doesn't feel like, oh, I have to do another thing. It's like, oh, I'm just doing this at the same time. One of the things I do is I have like apple cider vinegar and water in the morning. I read somewhere it was like good for your blood sugar, and I don't know if it's true, but I've been doing it for years, and jump starts my digestion in the morning, whatever. Again, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing, but I don't care. So I wanted to make this a habit. And so in order to make it a habit, I attached it, right? I have my water and I cull my photos in my phone, which let me give you a pro tip since it's a new year. I've been doing this. This is year three that I've been following this method, and it's wonderful because it helps me clean out my phone. Instead of being like, oh, it's week one, day three of the month, and then forgetting where you're at, all I do is I go into my photos and I search the date, January 5th. Every picture that's ever been taken on January 5th comes up, and then I delete and cull through. Anyway, so I do that while I have my water, right? Those things are connected and it's less resistance because my brain's like, oh, we don't have to do another thing. It's just something already happening. Now, when you're struggling, I'm going to give you some language that you say. And again, out loud, talk to yourself. Like you're wonderful. So sometimes when I don't want to get started on something like my workout, I'll be like, I just have to get started. I just need to start this. Kara, just get started on it, right? Um, you also can say, hey, I'm going to decide after 30 seconds. Like I'm just going to get started. And after 30 seconds, do I want to keep going? The big one that I always tell myself is like something is better than nothing. Showing up matters so much more than feeling like you have to complete it because that's what's going to build your resilience and things. So I'm like just show up. And starting is success. Just getting started on my decluttering project, even if I decluttered one shelf, is better than not doing anything. Now, I want you to use these tips throughout the whole year. It's January. Again, you're excited. I get it. So I want you to choose one area for January that you're going to try this in. Health, home, your personal goals, whatever it is. Okay. And then I want you to pick the smallest micro action for it. If maybe you're like, I have a workout goal. What is the smallest micro action that you have, which is probably just like getting started? I work out at home, so I use a website. It's probably logging in, right? And then I want you to track this week and you could do it all month, but track at least this week how many times you started. Now, I always tell my clients, I really like when you do something visual. So make the chart, give yourself the gold star, get a little glass jar, pom poms, every time you show up. Don't track your outcomes this week, track your starts. Success for you will simply be initiating this specific thing. And then talk positively to yourself. I'm so proud of you for showing up. Way to break through that perfectionism. I'm really happy that we got it started today. Talk to yourself through this and allow showing up to be the goal. Just for one, I know that you're like, your brain's like, well, we have to finish. Do that for your other goals. Pick one of your goals that all you're going to do this month, instead of tracking completion on something, instead of tracking outcome, is you track your starts. And I want you to see how that switches your mindset around your goals. Yes, I want you to complete things. Yes, I want you to achieve your goals. But what actually matters the most is not those things. It's becoming a person with integrity who shows up for yourself. And when you can do that, you start to ditch perfectionism and you realize that what really matters is showing up. So again, pick one thing that you're like, I really feel like I've already am starting to avoid this. I know I might struggle with this. And pick your micro momentum and track your starts. Again, I'd love to hear about it. Let me know. And just know, yes, it's the new year, but you don't need to throw everything out. You don't need to rehaul your whole life. Just micro momentums, right? Get started with things. Starting small, it's not failing, it's showing up. And if you went through all of 2025 and have goals you didn't achieve, maybe look at this as a way of saying, hey, I'm going to look at things a little different. And instead of focusing only on what I cross off my list and only what I complete, what if for this one area of my life, I just focus on how I showed up? And it's going to start to change your mindset. Your show notes are going to be at a purposedrivenmom.com/podcast 492. Happy New Year. And if you need any support, any help, I'm just an email away, Cara@caraharvey.com. And it's a new year. Can I ask, share this podcast episode, share with friends. We've been going strong so we're almost at episode 500, right? So I would love and appreciate if you shared this out with your friends or other moms that you think might need to hear this today.